What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Nintendo Land. Today we are on part 5 of finding unique little differences between the original Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door and the remake. There's obviously been a lot of episodes of this already, and I've been having a blast finding the differences between both versions of this game. But you guys have to show how much you want this series to continue. If you really enjoy watching these videos, stop what you're doing, leave a like and subscribe and share the video in order to give it some love. But today we'll be talking about the end of Chapter 2 and the beginning and probably a good chunk of Chapter 3, honestly. There's a lot of facts I have unpacked for you today. So sit down, grab your snacks, popcorn, candy, chocolate, whatever you got, and enjoy the differences. Let's get into the video. Okay, first let's start off with your comments. This one comes from Luke that says, when you give Flurry her necklace in the original Paper Mario, Mario didn't look away. Instead, he watched as she opened the door and grabbed the necklace. When in the remake, he actually does turn his head. Benjamin Peterson notices in the zigzag floor room, you'll see a JB actually run away without a key in their hands in the original, even though they do have the blue key for the cage. Where in the remake, you can clearly see the JB actually have the key, which probably makes it easier for players to say, hey, that's where the key's going, I need to go chase him. A little difference that you may have noticed is not only do your partners have thinking faces, but they also have angry faces right before they attack. In the original, you had water or bubbles moving in the background by the roots of the trees, where in the remake, it looks like the water is now like light blue ribbon and it's just more moving back there. In the original with the zigzag maze, it was just a maze with no type of indication that there was a secret shop down below, and there's just no arrow on the platform at all. But in the remake, they make sure to put a big arrow and a design on the last part of the maze, so that way you know to drop down there and find that secret shop. You'll get to a section where there'll be a puny orb holder, and in the original there was no sign or anything indicating how many punies you needed to be over there or anything like that. But in the remake, there's like a fake box with the 101 sign on there, kind of luring your punies over there, and it even looks like it was just kind of scribbled on with marker from Lord Crump. In the original Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, the lily pads don't move at all when you walk across them. You can jump on them and pound with your hammer, but they will not budge. But in the remake, they definitely do move a little bit. In the original, the crystal star comes out right in front of the podium and still a ways away from Mario behind him, where Lord Crump runs in and snags it. But in the remake, it actually comes all the way out in front of Mario towards the front of the room before Lord Crump grabs it. Benjamin Peterson was also able to notice another cool detail, where Lord Crump's timer remote is all white with a red button in the original, but in the remake, it's all black with a yellow button. The new timer exit the tree theme is now different. It used to play Lord Crump's theme, which I thought still fit better, but now it's a completely different song. The scene with Lord Crump arguing with the puny elder, she actually gets double the size in the remake. I mean, she already gets huge in the original, but I mean, look at this. Another cool fact coming in from ML Master states that during the bomb sequence, if the timer runs out as Lord Crump is talking to Mario and his partners specifically, before he stops the timer, if the timer reaches 0 right there, they all actually have a freak out animation as the bomb explodes. I actually don't have footage of this, but that's actually pretty cool. Here's an incredibly stupid and useless fact, but Lord Crump's grapple bot actually does not have the yellow spikes on him before jumping into the boss battle. In the remake, he actually has his yellow spikes up on the glass dome before the battle even begins. Also, in the original, Lord Crump would just walk into you to start the battle, where in the remake, he actually jumps into you. Von Grapple has an attack where where Lord Crump throws a tantrum and starts stomping all over the stage. In the original, it was very hard to dodge as he just stomped and there was a random hit somewhere at the end of the stomping, where in the remake, he actually stops for a second, does a big jump, and this is the indicator to dodge. Christopher Norris brought it to my attention that in the original game, when you clear a chapter, it would say end of chapter, but in the remake, it just says cleared. Not even cleared chapter, just cleared. Yeah, the original definitely was better with this. This just didn't make sense to me. Peach dances with Tech, which is technically, see what I did there? Okay, anyways, it's technically her hologram self. In the original, there was no spotlight. In the remake, there is. And also, the button presses are different. In the original, all you had to do was press the button when it popped up. But now, in the remake, you can see a timer as the button goes around and lights up when it's time to press. Also, big thanks to GetLucky12341 on Twitter for finding this cool secret that there's actually 5 different variants of the waltz theme that will play. If you keep failing, it just keeps getting worse and worse, up to 5 different times. Bowser gets fully powered up and massive in the original, he just glows like a yellow hue. In the remake, he actually glows a rainbow color to match the Superstar theme. In the original, at the very end, after taking out the flag, he runs into a dark green looking castle that doesn't really reminisce anything from Mario history, like it's maybe one of his castles or something like that, where in the remake it's actually more along the lines of the actual castle at the end of a Super Mario Bros. Level. Going back to the Rogueport sewer, there's an open door that takes you to this room where you can get blue warp pipes to take you to various different locations that you've already visited. That's this game's version of fast travel, but in the remake, it's one giant pipe room that's actually led through a blue door this time around, and all the pipes are in one central location, making backtracking a lot easier. Here's a pretty interesting fact for you. The music actually changes by the 1,000-Year Door room once you add more stars. More instruments will begin to play to make the theme even grander, and this is something very similar to the Origami King. Once you got more colored streamers, the song for the main Toad Town hub would be more vibrant with more instruments. Another really cool difference that Pikmin fan noticed is that as you get closer and closer to the 1,000-Year Door, as you're going through the different subsections of the sewer, each section the music gets more louder and more intense as you get closer and closer, which is really cool. This one, which is the closest one to the door and it has like the acapella to it, is beautiful. Like seriously beautiful. Like seriously, just listen to this one more time, because clearly you didn't hear it enough. One big difference that I noticed right away is that you can't fast skip through text anymore. You have to slowly read each line until it's finished, and then you can skip to the next line. So if you're a fast reader, you're going to be held back by this. Or if you don't want to listen to certain text, it doesn't care. You're going to read it very slowly. Moving to the west side of Rogueport, you'll go into the green building and notice some differences. For instance, upstairs, there's a bigger potted plant and there's a chandelier in the remake. Originally in the pink house, there's no potted plant upstairs. And also, there is a Koopa Troopa standing on a couch/bed, but he's facing the complete other direction for some reason in the remake. I know a lot of you want to point out the flowers around the fountain area, but that's for another video because I want to show all the flowers, which I actually have in an art gallery. But the fountain is definitely different in the remake. It's more papery and it actually spins around at the top. Going into the Pianta parlor, you'll notice that the giant Robo Pianta is only holding 1 bucket of coins, where in the remake he's holding 2. And all the coins are actually blue in the remake, which actually matches their real depiction based on when you get those coins. Also, the machine is slightly different, where it's closed where you grab your coins and it has a picture of the coin on the front. Slot machines are slightly different in the remake. In the original, you just had to line up 3 pictures, left to middle to right, and in the remake, it actually is more like the Mario Bros. 3 minigame, where you have to line up pictures from top, middle to bottom. In the original, the Boo will actually hold your Pianta coins for you, so every time you use a slot, she will appear to give you your coins if it's your first time in the facility, and every time you leave, she'll also take your coins before leaving, where there's a slight dialogue. In the remake, this is all completely gone. I guess your coins just stay with you the entire time. This one's gonna blow your mind. They moved 2 barrels outside of Don Pianta's office. Yep. Or I guess you can say they stacked one of them on top of the 3. In the remake, they changed the train station area up a little bit. In the original, there was actually no billboard sign, and the bench was scooted all the way over towards the right near the Cheep Cheep, where in the remake, the bench is scooted towards the left, and there's a giant billboard in the area full of wanted posters of the Koopa Troopa and the Goomba that you can better see in this picture. In the original, there was also a railroad crossing bar, and I'm not really sure why it was ever in that position, as if the train goes through there, and it was obviously fixed in the remake where that bar is no longer existent. Another small detail is that there's no red star design on the boarding section of the blimp in the original, but in the remake you have your red stars. In the original, when you jumped onto the blimp, you would only be able to see Mario, where in the remake you can see all the characters are now shown inside the blimp, which is more realistic. And finally, just a couple of Glitzville comparisons before we wrap up today. In the original, you just got behind the hot dog poster, where in the remake it actually makes a little sound where Mario sticks his head through the poster and the screen changes. In the original, for the hot dog vendor, there were no pictures of his hot dogs for the signs, and also you could barely make out that there were actually hot dogs on display, where in the remake, you can clearly see the hot dogs and even hit them with your hammer, and you can see the hot dog symbols on his signs now for his advertisement. And you can now even see where he's cooking the hot dogs as the steam's coming up in the background. This one's so small, I'm not even going to count it as a fact. In the original, there was only 1 black wire going to the giant ice cream cone outside, where now there is a red and a black one. Last fact about the hot dog vendor, I swear, in the original, it was just a regular truck, where in the remake, it's actually a fake truck. Look at the tires, it's all made out of fake cardboard. I know everything already is, but I mean, it's even fake for this paper world. Balloons all over the park don't really move in the original, but in the remake, they actually wiggle back and forth, and you can even see their white papery background as if they're just drawn on some construction paper. In the original, the giant posters of the fighters didn't really have lights or anything around them, where in the remake, they have flashing lights. In the original, there's a giant poster of Rock the Hawk, where it's just a picture of him, but in the remake it actually has words. Unfortunately, I can't really tell you what it says. There's probably some way to decipher this, but I can't at the moment. Finally, in the original, you can see a giant hologram with stats, and you never could read it or figure out what it was, but in the remake, you can actually walk up to it and interact with it and read the rankings, and it shows you a leaderboard of who's the best and who's the worst. And that was 41 brand new comparisons and differences between the original and the remake of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I love making these videos. As a huge Paper Mario fan, and of course, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door being one of my favorite games, I really want to continue this, but it's completely up to you guys. If you guys really want to see more, we will keep going all the way until the end of the game. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you found any other facts up to this point, definitely let me know, and until next time, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.